All right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coffee Q&A, your daily dose of Coffee Q&A. It's Monday, January 5th, the first full week of 2026. How's it going? Hope you're well. Hope your weekend was a good one. For me, it was a good one. My niece had her 16th birthday, her sweet 16. Ah, gosh, over the weekends. That was really nice to see. So hope you guys are doing well. So today, if you're just joining us for the very first time, this is the Coffee Q&A. We do this live stream mostly daily, most Monday through Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern. And if you're just joining us for the very first time, welcome. If you have questions about coffee, let me know. We're always here to help. But today's question comes from Julie Hare, and she asks, this may be a stupid question, but is there any trick to inserting a portafilter? Question. I really struggle with trying to get it to line up in there, and especially in there evenly. I hear you, Julie. I hear you. So putting the portafilter into your espresso machine can be a difficult experience. And there's multiple reasons why that can happen. First of all, if you're newer to learning espresso, general unfamiliarity with your equipment is one of the biggest culprits. So we're going to get into that a little bit. So here is our portafilter. This is a typical commercial portafilter. This particular one is made by the company La Marzocco, and this is what they call a 58 millimeter portafilter, which means that this basket has a 58 millimeter diameter, and 58 millimeters is just over 2 inches. So it's about 2.5 to just under 2.5 inches. Basically, each 25 millimeters is an inch. So if this is 58, 2+ inches or so, maybe 2.25 inches. Actually, I've never even thought about the equivalent in inches until just today. But we've got this dimension here. There are different sizes of portafilters. I think there's 53, 51. Most commercial machines will use a 58 millimeter, and a lot of the home machines are now starting to over the last several years, have started to make their sizes to match these 58. It just makes it a little bit easier. For a long time, a lot of the home machines had their own sizes. 53 millimeters, a popular one. I think that some of them still make them that way. If you buy the Breville's, you can use 58 millimeters. And a lot of times they will make them similar dimensions so that you can swap out different portafilters, right? Now, this particular one, the La Marzocco, is kind of like become the de facto standard in some ways. So as you can see here, we've got the portafilter that has these tabs. These are the locking tabs, and they're slightly slanted, slightly ramped, so that when you put them into the lugs or into the bayonet mount of your group head, these push up, right? As it turns, it pushes it closer to the group, into the group head, where there is a gasket that this basket rim, if you'll notice, it is kind of like rounded. That's supposed to seat in the rubber or silicone gasket and provide a watertight and pressure-tight seal so that all of your water pressure will stay focused inside the basket and pressure through your coffee. But the lugs, depending on the machine, will be in different locations, right? So the ideal thing is that when you put your portafilter in and you lock it, it's going to face you like this, right? Like straight up like that. If you're looking at it, you put it in and you lock it, it should face like this. But depending on where the manufacturers may put their lugs and on their bayonet as well, and depending which actual portafilter you're using, it may not be perfectly straight to you when you get it done. It may be canted in any direction depending on how they've arranged it. Also, if you do have one of these, as you wear through your rubber gasket, it can like slightly change, but that's less dramatic than the way the lugs are positioned. Kent, how are you? Good to see you. Mom, how are you doing? Power plant's with us as well. Anton is good morning to you, and Andrew's with us as well. Good to see you. So those are some of the factors that are going to be involved with your portafilter as far as their design and how they may affect the way you put it in. Now, one thing you want to notice is that, so if you have these lugs, we can be reassured that in the bayonet mount, and when I say the bayonet mount, let me show you this. This is the, let me take this camera off of the mount because it's a little bit easier to see. But here you can see this is the group head. And this here has a little more lighting on it. This here has these cutouts in the group head. Now, some, like if you're talking about Lombrosoco, the Lombrosoco has a bayonet ring that you attach to it and bolt into position. This particular group head is what we call the E61 group head. It was developed by Faima, an Italian espresso maker, in 1961, which is why they call it the E61. And it's integrated into the actual casting of the brass for this group head. This is a group head that's made out of brass because it retains really, the heat retention is really good. And then they chrome plate it to make it pretty. But if you look under here, you'll see the lugs, or the cutouts for the lugs, are here and here, which means that when you put your portafilter in, it's going to be slightly offset here, and then you push it up, and it stays a little bit loose. So as I twist it, it's still technically loose, right? Like you can see it. So, and that those lugs, remember, they're sloped. So as I go from here. It's one of the problems. Getting it in the hole is always a problem. Now you can see there's a little bit of play. But as I move it forward, the play becomes less because the sloping of this lug pushes it all up together and pushes the whole thing up against the gasket. This is the gasket that's under here, right? This way because the other light's getting all strong. But you can see the gasket is under here. Now you can replace these with silicone gaskets. Actually, I just ordered silicone gaskets for this machine yesterday. So we'll actually probably do something to show you how that comes up. But it's really easy to take out. You just, in this particular case, you see there's no screws. So if you look at Lombrosoco and some other companies, there are screws. There's a big screw in the center. This one is all friction fixed. So you just kind of like use a flathead screwdriver. I always keep a stubby with every machine that I have. And you just kind of wedge it in here. You can kind of like wedge it. I don't know if you can see that too well, but basically you can just wedge it in there and then pry it out. I'm not going to do that because since I'm going to replace this gasket, part of the reason I'm going to replace the gasket is because there's been leaking issues, which is telling me that this is getting dry rotted. So if I was to pop that out now, well, it may actually fall apart and I would not be able to put it back in and we would be finished with our episode faster than we thought that we would. So but this is basically the configuration. So as you're putting your portafilter in, you have to twist it, right? You have to twist it. If we want to end up this way, you have to twist it this way in order for those lugs to mate. And then you push it up a little bit and then you twist it and the lugs hold it in place. Now you can see on this one, fully snug, it is still canted this way, mainly because this is not designed to work with this group head. It is 58 millimeter. The lugs, the width of the lugs still fit the same. However, placement of the lugs on the mount for this group head are different. If this was a Faima portafilter, it would actually lock and hold in this position. But since it's a Lombrosoco and they're a little bit different, everybody has to be a little bit different. So everything is a little bit canted. And if you did an Nova Simonelli, it would be very similar in that respect. So that's the first thing that as you're learning espresso, making espresso, if you want to be smooth and like looking very like you know what you're doing, like I'm sure you've seen those guys and they come in and they're just kind of like yeah. If you want to be like that, then it's about practicing and getting used to finding where the lugs are, because it just takes practice. That's all it is. It just if you want to do drills, you can. You could sit here and just do this for like 4 hours. So even I'm having a hard time getting it because I've used this machine less than my Lombrosoco. So, but you can just do that, and then you basically, over time, the more you do it, the more you get a feel for it, where to put it in. Right? Like you can close your eyes. Like I'm putting it in multiple times, in and out, pushing it in and out with a little bit of a twist. You want to have that little twist because you want to give it a little bit of accent, a little bit of twist. Pushing it, put it in, insert it. Oh, to the right. Okay, good. Come back. Take it out. Push it to the right. Oh, good. But if you close your eyes, then you kind of like have to get the feel for it. Right? So you're just closing your eyes, or you can turn off the lights and do it in the dark. Right? So if you're doing it in the dark, you're just kind of like, okay, all right, very nice. Nice. So those are things that you could do if you wanted to do exercise. I don't know if you need to do exercise. Maybe you need to do exercises. That's the one thing. Maybe you get into doing these things, right? You get into inserting and pulling it out, and you're just expected to know what to do without any proper training, without any practice, without any rehearsals. You're just expected to know and to perform at a very high level. It's very difficult, and there's a big burden. There's a big burden on us because people just think, you should just know what you're doing naturally. But there's nothing in the world that we actually know to do naturally, other than perhaps breathing, that we don't need to practice, right? We need to practice all these things, especially when you're trying to insert with a twist, right? You see, even I'm having trouble putting it in. Like sometimes it's hard to find the hole, right? You just can't get it in sometimes. It can be quite distressing and, very difficult on the psyche. Anton says, generally, it is not recommended to smash it in, though, because you never want to smash it in. I can't. Well, I mean, maybe sometimes there's a good for smashing. Like if you can shove it in there and just rip it. Could be, once in a while, maybe. Power Plant asks, do you have experience with step-down baskets? So let me ask you, when you say step-down baskets, okay, so I think we even made a commentary about it in the past, but now it's been long enough and it was not committed enough to my memory for me to recall correctly. But step-down baskets are something different than the old single-shot baskets. Am I correct in that understanding? Like in the old days, or I guess they still have them, there are these things called single-shot baskets, which look very conical shaped. So instead of being this kind of basket shape, it has a very narrow range of perforations. Oh, look how dirty that is. It has a very small ring of perforations, and it's very conical. I do recall us bringing that topic up at some point, but I don't remember. And that's something that is that something that a British company offered? If so, I have not explored it further than that last time we talked about it. I got to remember that. Sometimes I just never remember those things. Coffee Cove, good morning to you as well. Anton says the camera looks nice. Thank you. I'm glad you like that. And Anton's asking, nice gasket replacement. Yes. We're going to have another. We'll replace that live so that you can see how this machine gets replaced, or generally an E61 group head gasket will be replaced, and you can see whether or not I have any chops whatsoever to do that. And I probably don't, because of all the machines that I've ever had, I've replaced this maybe once or twice in the last 20 years. I'm really bad at replacing gaskets. Like even our main Lombrosoco, it's kind of like, I think it's leaking. We should probably replace that gasket. And I got a whole box of gaskets for the Lombrosoco. It's very, very unimpressive. That's what it is. Naomi says, when I first got my Bambino, I had to practice that alignment. Not 4 hours worth, but still, I think practice. I think it's important to practice, putting it in right? And that twist is super important. Right? You want that twist, because that twist is what makes it, right? And if you can get it nice and smooth without, like, there's, you'll be like, let me show you. Misa show you. So if you get it, right? So like, if you could just get it to glide in, like now I'm like searching, like you're just fumbling. You're fumbling for it. You're trying to put it in, and you're just moving around. You're just kind of going around the edge. Like, what are you doing with those? Then you finally insertion. Right? Good. And then a little bit of twist. But if you can just get it, right, like that. If you can just get it in, and you don't have to, you don't have to bang on it, right? That's not necessary. Just some finesse. You just want to have that finesse and just gentle. There it is. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Just a little bit. You just insert it and pull it out. Just insert, and then that little twist. Oh, nice. That's what espresso making is about. That's really what it's about. That finesse. You want that finesse and that smoothness, right? Anton says, yes, it takes. It always takes. You always need practice. I think you always need practice. And Noah says, doesn't need a step down with his 21 gram doses. But it's good to know there. It is good to know there. And I don't really know what they are because I've never really used them. I've not used them. But I should get one. I'll try to remember to look it up. And I think it was that British company that had the step down. Noah's asking, do you have a Lamazoka upstairs? No, I don't have it. So it's actually in a storage unit right now. I might move it today to the new space. I have both a 2 group and a 4. I used to have a 3 group, but I was so pissed off with someone, I just gave it away. And but I have a 4 group and a 2 group. The 2 group is like, I have rebuilt the 3 group I rebuilt it like twice. The 2 group I've rebuilt twice as well. The 4 group I've never rebuilt because it's been in parts for a long. Here's the thing. I went to this one guy and I said, "Hey man, you're a tech, right? I need your help with this. Can you have a look at the machine?" He takes the 4 group was at one of my locations many years ago. He comes down, looks at it, takes it apart. I was like, son of a bitch, this mother. Anyway, takes it apart, doesn't put it back together. He's like, I don't know how to put it back together. Are you fucking? I was so this. Here in Baltimore, we have really, and when it comes to espresso technicians, we have pretty much the dregs of America as far as espresso technicians. They're utterly worthless here. It's like, what in the world? Like, just terrible. The worst, the utterly worst. Like, if you want to, and I can work on my own machines, but sometimes I'm away, at least especially during that era, I was away every once in a while. So it's like, what can you do, man? What can you do? Power plant says somewhere technician is crying. They all need to get out of. There's great technicians in America. There's a few of them. None of them are in Baltimore. He says, "Have you tried it? The stepped basket? I was curious, but I never bought one." Anton says, "While you are correct, there is still some benefit to be had. I dosed 20 grams in my 49 millimeter. Oh, all right. Step-down baskets are available from Graf, 9 Panda, and Swerks. Swerks was the first to do it, but its products are rich. Do you have any thoughts between those 3 as to which is the better one to get, or what the difference is between them? People talk about different like regular baskets, like and these are what I've been using are VST baskets, from that company. And why am I using VST still in modern times? Because that's what I've had for many years, and I haven't necessarily felt the need to change. I'm bad at change. I'm like old school in that respect. This is all crusty. How not to take care of your coffee equipment? But I do have the 2 group and a 4 group, and I'm planning on. I probably need to rebuild. I should rebuild the 2 group before using it. So I'll probably rebuild that, or at least refurbish it, because there was one of the group heads is leaking from both ends. Like on the La Marzocco group heads, they have caps on the top and the bottom. And yeah, it's just in need. But that's the one thing about the lineas is that you can run them. They're so battle proof that, I mean, they could be leaking. They could be all kinds of mucked up, and they're just running. Like I remember one time, like I do need to replace the sight glass, right? So on the La Marzocco linea, there's a sight glass that shows you the relative fullness of the steam boiler, right? So you can see in a glance how much representative airspace is inside the tank, because you want to have some amount of airspace inside the tank, right? So if this is the tank, you only want it to be filled about here, right? Because you need some expansion room for the steam. So as the water's superheated, it generates the steam, and you need that space for the steam. The further you fill it, the less steam you can have on demand, and that could impact the performance of your steaming, right? So there's a point, but at the bottom of this is a drain plug. So when you want to if you want to drain the boiler, you cool the machine down, release all the pressure. So basically you shut it off, you open all the steam valves, and you bleed off the excess pressure. And then you remove this so it doesn't go shooting across the room and hitting something. At least that's the theory. Man, the last time I serviced it, before we pulled it out of service, I remember I was like, okay, took it all out. Took all the pressure out, shut it off. It's a 5 millimeter nut or, screw. And it had corroded so much that I just basically twisted and it came out. And I was like, and it's there's like that much thread on it. You're like, what? So for whatever reason, it didn't shoot across the room, but I do need to replace that whole piece. There's a lot of things that need to be replaced. Maybe we'll be able to do some of that as content on the channel. Anton says, step-down basket can improve flavor and body, but it adds a lot of faff. Not for everyone are highly subjective. Improving water should take priority. When you say it adds a lot of faff, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean, like faff? Power Plant says, keeping up with the times keeps the hobby fresh, even though I stopped making home espresso. I still read the forums every now and then. Nice. And then Anton says, I don't know which step-down basket might be better than others. The problem is you need a dosing ring, a respective temper, and a puck screen with spring, which usually comes. Oh, that's right. I remember that. That's what I remember. Comes a puck screen, and I do have a ring. My friend Matt gave me. Oh, here it is. He gave me one of these rings. I was like, oh, that's cool. You put it on your portafilter. Problem is, it doesn't really fit too well. Yeah, it doesn't fit well. Oh, it doesn't play well with my Mauser. So it's like, okay, wait, that doesn't do me any good. Right? It's like so that's why I still stick with like the finger and doing it by hand, because it's just incompatible. I should probably I could probably look for a 3D printed file and then like print it out and see what we can do. I'll try to have a look at it. Coffee Cove says, the step down isn't that bad to use. I just pour in the grinds, level, and temp. Don't WDT or use anything else, and it works for me. Okay. And I also said, I do use the ring, but not the spring. Why is there so the spring is supposed to put, so you put your step down basket, put the coffee in, you put there's a plate, put the plate in, you put the spring in, and the spring tensions against your group head screen. Is that correct? What's the theory behind that? Like, so now you're, like in my case, Naomi's right. I got a lot of coffee in here, so there's not much space for there's not much space for a spring and plate to exist under the basket. But I'm curious. I'm curious. You have reignited my curiosity. We probably talked about this back in October, September, maybe even the summertime. All right, so let's see some other thoughts on why you might have problems, and it goes back to probably more of my thing, where there's only. Let me not move so much to get you all like seasick. There's only so much space, right, between the basket edge here, the way that it sits in in the whatever, the gasket. And this screen, like the screen here is so much height down, right? Like it sits in further. The basket rim will sit up in further. So there's always so much space between the this and the top of your puck. The more coffee you put in, the less the space. The more coffee you put in, you could totally eliminate that space and then start to compact it. And I think with a lot of times when I'm, especially on this particular setup and machine, that happens. Like on La Marzocco Linea group header, and I'm presuming all the other newer La Marzoccos are the same, there's quite a lot of headspace. This one, there's not that much headspace, right? So that's why sometimes you'll see me trying to put it in, and I am having difficulty getting it in because it has to seat so far for these lugs to seat inside that ring, right? Otherwise, you just kind of, so I have to push it up really hard sometimes because I'm compacting the coffee even more against the dispersion screen and then twisting it. And then as you're twisting it, you can see, I'm sure you've seen them times when I'm on the show when I'm really pulling on it hard and even using my other hand to leverage against the machine because the machine itself wants to move. Like this is a fairly lightweight home machine, right? So if I push on it, like it wants to move, even though it's a solid enough machine with very rubberized feet, right? These are pretty grippy rubber, but because I'm leveraging on it so much, it's easy for me to torque the whole machine over. So you just gotta, and that is a sign that I'm putting a lot more coffee into the portafilter up against the basket than the machine really was designed to handle. So that's something to consider, and perhaps that's a good reason to go with lower quantities of coffee, 18 grams, because then you just won't have as much difficulty inserting and locking in your portafilter. Anton says, step-down baskets just make the workflow a lot more complicated in my... But I mean, I hear you, and I totally hear you, and and we've kind of touched on this in previous episodes where we talked about like tools that I don't use, right? And it's like, to me, a lot of it is superfluous, right? But I get why people use it. Plus, also there is I come from a very practical, professional standpoint of like, we need to pump out as much espresso, high quality as espresso we can in as short a time as possible, right? Whereas the enthusiast is at home, doesn't necessarily have to worry about that. Like, right? It's not like you're like, I need to pump out 6 drinks in the next 2 minutes. I have 6 minutes to make my one espresso. I have plenty of time, so I can take that time to do what I want and like, to grind the coffee, to select the beans, to pick through them, to put them in the grinder, to set the grinder, to turn the grinder on, to let it run until it's fully done, clean it all out to get all the coffee out of it. And then, I can rake it and do all this stuff and then even put the spring. I think there's something to all of that if you're enjoying it, right? If you enjoy that process, if you enjoy that ritualistic aspect of making the coffee, then I think that's a very legitimate way to make coffee. But I hear you. I do hear you that it does add steps. And I think everyone has to ask themselves, what steps am I willing to go through to make coffee for myself? Right? And I think we all ask that, even if just subconsciously, like, oh, that's cool, I'm going to do that. Or that's a waste of time, I'm not going to do that. And I think that's all very legitimate to make those decisions. Right? Hufflepuff says, I use the ring, but not the spring. Oh, no, I think we said that already. Anton says the spring basically prevents your grounds from spilling over when the coffee expands. Okay, this is where I'm a little bit confused. So the spring basically prevents your grounds from spilling over when the coffee expands. It's a huge mess otherwise. When you're mentioning, when you talk about the coffee spilling over, are we talking about, and this is, my comprehension of what you're saying is limited by my understanding of coffee making as well, right? Meaning that I make a coffee a certain way for so much time, and I'm like, huh? So when you say that prevents the grounds from spilling over when the coffee expands, so I'm presuming you mean that when the water hits the coffee and it expands, the spring and the plate prevent the coffee from spilling over. You mean spilling over, pressurizing outside of the group head, like through the gasket and rim, between the gasket and rim and out the portafilter? Is that what you mean? Is that what that means? Is that what that means? Because I'm asking for clarification mainly because, like, if at least in my experience, I have found that when you get this spilling over, it's because you're just not getting a proper seal. Maybe that's too simplistic. I don't know. Coffee Cove says, I have a harder time inserting the portafilter in the meticulous with the springs, so why I don't use it. I'm scared of messing up the group. I don't think you're going to mess up the group. I doubt it. Like, if you're going to mess anything up on your, and I'm presuming, I don't know the meticulous group head at all, but I'm going to presume that, the guy that made it, he's not really, he has newer technology to do interesting things with, but he hasn't redeveloped the physical nature of espresso making, meaning that, on the meticulous, I'm sure there is a group head, right? The group head has a basket and has some kind of gasket around it. And this will be necessarily removable. So if you were to even, let's say that spring, for whatever reason, like let's say the end piece where the sprung wire terminates, like let's say that had, whatever, leveraged out of its position and gouged and put a hole into your basket, like it's not gonna, that's probably not gonna be a big deal. I mean, there is a potential that under here there is a plate. On Lumberzoco, it's brass. This is probably brass as well. Some people replace it with stainless steel. The block that's under here, I mean, the theory is that the wire from the spring could like somehow deform, puncture through this, and somehow gouge your brass block. But I mean, that would be like, that's difficult to conceive a situation where that would really happen. So I don't know if you necessarily need to worry so much about that kind of damage happening to your meticulous. I mean, meticulous is not cheap, so of course I understand that you want to be careful. But just as an exercise of thinking, I don't think that's necessarily something to be too concerned about. Powerplant's asking, was there a decent warranty period on the meticulous? Hopefully they have a good warranty because you're spending quite a good amount of money. Coffee Cove says, so far I have not had the grind spill over. It has a 1-year warranty. Okay. Anton says the Met has a 1-year warranty after all the waiting. Anton's probably sitting there in Germany like, should have got tomorrow. Should have bought tomorrow. A friend of mine received his with lots of nicks and cosmetics. Oh, man. That shipping must be a little bit problematic. Powerplant says if you Google step-down baskets, it might make it easier if you look at it. I do recall us talking about it. So I do recall some of this conversation we've had in the past. And I did look at it back then. So I feel that I'm not totally as ignorant as it was a few minutes ago. It doesn't spill over the portafilter. It spills over the rim of the step down. Oh, there's a rim inside. Okay, now maybe I have to look at the Google thing. Let's have a look. step down portafilter basket. Oh, right. It's got that much more elongated shape. So you're trying to keep the coffee from overflowing this part of it, right? Ooh, this seems really like deep. That looks. Does it have to have like a bottomless portafilter to put it in? Oh, look at this. Reddit guys are talking. Did anyone buy the step down basket, Swarks basket? $200 US. Wow, really? $200? Are you going to get that much performance out of it? Okay, so $200 for the Swarks. Are you getting that much performance out of it? Like, if I'm going to spend $200, which is, let's see here, $200. Divide that by 1,700. $200 is 12% of the price of a meticulous. Am I spending that? If I spend that kind of money, am I getting like really dramatic performance improvement in my espresso? I mean, that's a question. I don't have an answer for that. That's what I'm asking you guys. Huffcuff says, I received my meticulous in great condition and survived the shipping. I mean, I think there's always going to be some kind of issue sometimes in shipping. Like in the forums I participated in, some of the guys a couple of guys were recently complaining about shipments they got of Festool tools that had like some kind of dustiness on it from packaging. I don't know. I was like, does it work? Is it damaged? If it's not, it should be all right. Anton says, what you can try with the spring is to put a normal puck screen above the spring. Oh, that's true. It is a bit of overkill, but this worked on the flare for me. So 2 puck screens. This seems like a lot to me. This seems like a lot. And Anton says that his were factory defects. Oh, okay. I have not found any cosmetic or factory damage. Okay. Oh, that's disappointing. There's factory damage. That is disappointing. Especially since you paid so much for it and have waited so long. Oh, it only works with the bottomless portafilter. Okay, I do have a bottomless portafilter. That's fine. Oh, run by a bloke named Sheldon. Swarks. Oh, gotcha. All right. Anton says, they're a much cheaper basket now. Swarks was the first one. It is machined in an expensive way, so it doesn't bend when exposed to 9 bars. I don't believe it makes a difference. I mean, these are like when you say machine, I mean, I should look and see here, see what. I mean, is he taking like billet aluminum or billet steel and then machining it out? Because, all right, that would be something. Step down billet basket. So it says step down billet basket. $200, 58, 49, 28, standard flow, dosing funnel, no. Tamper base plate, no. Dynamic shower screen kit, no. Welcome to the world, step down billet baskets. Step down your basket diameter to get thicker pucks. Okay, I have to. So, let's read. A custom tamp through dosing funnel is available as an option to greatly ease the puck prep as they are profiled to maintain the basket step. Funnels are made from anodized aluminum with springs to provide a compression fit. You can use any tamper with this, 49.7 for the 4849. Who has a 49.7 millimeter tamper just lying around? I don't think I know anyone. If using a leveling tamper, the outer diameter of the floating collar must be smaller than the blade diameter. Okay. All right, interesting. I mean, nicely done. So stainless steel, I'm presuming machined stainless, and then it looks like here is some kind of laser perforation, I imagine. Oh, there's the whole kit, okay. is very nice looking. Wow, but $200. But I mean, again, if you're instead of making this, like this is just stamped stainless, but you can tell it's just stamped. So I believe what they do is they laser perforate. I think they use lasers to perforate oh no, this is stamped also. Yeah, so these are all stamped. So they probably put this on like a turret stamper machine, turret punch with the flat sheet. They punch the holes. There's a company in Italy that makes these big, like 12 head turret punches called Euromac. They're pretty amazing. And you can punch anything into the steel, and like pretty thick steel, right? So this is, fairly decent steel. And so they'll stamp this, and then I presume that they're going to punch a blank out, which would be like maybe a flat round. And then they're going to put this on a forming punch, and then somehow, I have to ask my friend about this. One of my friends supplies process equipment for metalworking. But this does, so there will be some flex, like under the pressure, the 135 PSI, there'll be sometimes, especially on the older baskets, there will be a little bit of flex right here. I don't know if this one flexes as much. I think part of the VST thing was that it wasn't going to flex. Plus the VST was all about more precision in the holes. Was that really a big deal? I don't know. Everybody thought so. I do think that, like you made a comment about the water, if you can rectify your water situation and your coffee situation, then I think that goes so far to producing great coffee at home. Power Plant says it's the hobby aspect. Some people just want to try something new. I hear you. And that's why I said earlier, I'm all in favor of that. I think for me, it's more like, I always come at it from a practical sense, meaning that, do you necessarily need to use it? Do you need these tools to make nice quality coffee at home? I tend to say no. I don't think but part of the process, part of the pleasure is the process, right? So if you're getting pleasure from the process, and however that process works out for you, I think that's a very, very legitimate way to enjoy it. Anton says, man, it's snowing some thick flakes here. Nice. That German snow. The VST's bend, by the way, it really doesn't matter. There's not a lot of baskets that do. Yeah, I mean, and I never worry. I mean, if you put on I'm sure if I put this on a bottomless filter and I watched it, it would. And I've seen that happen. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of like, I kind of don't worry so much about it. An American has to love this. Clearly bigger equals better. So bigger pucks equals better. Absolutely. We always like better. Bigger is better here in America. But yes, the site does read like adding a lot more complications for very little payoff. I get that. I mean, I think that's true in any pursuit. There's always someone there's always like people making products that are making it maybe a little bit more complicated than it necessarily needs to be, because it's a new product, new thing to explore. So I'm not so like, again, it goes back to like, do you enjoy it? If you enjoy it, that's fine. Before the step down, they had precision laser etch baskets. Oh, nice. Anton says, so if you get a cheaper graph or 9 Panda step down, you can save a little money. So how much are the 9 Panda? Let's see, 9 Panda. I like the name 9 Panda. 9 Panda basket. Coffee. 9 Panda. Oh, €5? What? From €5. What's up with that? That doesn't sound right. 25 euros. Okay, that sounds more like it. 59 to 49. Please go away. 59 to 49 millimeter CNC step down basket plus free 49 millimeter temper. Ooh, plus free 49 millimeter temper. Do I want to buy something like that? Do I want to buy? It's always a question of like, buy coffee tools or buy Festool. Right now, Festool kind of is on the priority. Well, actually, not right now because I don't have anything I need there. But I like that price better. 25 pounds or 25 euros. That works better. Just don't get Normcore, a brand that only lives off copying others. Okay, I mean, but you know, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that copying is necessarily a bad thing if they do a high quality copy. Like, yeah, I don't know. Coffee Cove says Sworks has a 46 millimeter group kit for the meticulous, approximately $400. Ooh, at least for a while. Right on, brother. Right on. I like that. Anton says Graph is now developing a super narrow single shot step down. It looks comical, but might be good though. Ooh. 9-pendant distribution is a little sus though. No idea how they smuggled their stuff. Oh, well, sus delivers at 25 euros versus $200. And it's especially for someone like me that just would just be curious to try it, just to see what it's like. It's like I would be much more inclined to spending 25 euros than $200 US on a product that would do more or less the same thing. Oh, I see. Anton says that you get the product and it works, but somehow in import fees, so they actually give you more import. And that's one of the things that I have to worry about here in the United States is that we have usurious tariffs here in our country now that we've been assured that we don't pay for, but somehow UPS likes to send you a bill that says, "Oh, you have to pay these tariffs and you have to pay a shipping fee, and if you want to pay those fees on delivery, it's an additional $12." Like what? $12. Powerplant says the Chinese companies are routing through sub-companies to escape tariffs. I don't know if anybody's escaping tariffs here in the United States. I have seen all our products increase significantly in pricing. All right, so let's go back here to getting your portafilter back into your machine. Oops, sorry, we're going to have a little bit of gray. One of the things that you want to consider with your portafilter is the cleanliness of your gasket. So you may notice that a lot of times when I take the portafilter out, it's a little bit dirty. Sometimes it's also not very good at locking in. So part of that, you want to get in there with a brush and scrub out the gasket. Right? Let's get some more light on this thing here. So I've got a toothbrush here, old toothbrush. Just get in there and just kind of scrub. And now they do sell, Paleo sells scrub, particular brushes, which I do have. I have no idea where they are. No idea. I was looking for them this weekend. I was like, I have no idea what that is. So I just grabbed a brush from my toolbox. It was clean. It was the first time I'm using this one. But every time I finish using a toothbrush, I just toss it in a box so that I have it. So you want to scrub in there and get into your gasket. I'm probably not doing a very good job. Like the Paleo one has this like really narrow, round. The bristles are more similar in overall shape to this, but this hairbrush is not very stiff. You want something really stiff so that you can dig in there. And since this is good at fighting gingivitis, this should be okay for doing removal. And so that's going to drop a lot of, like you can see here, there's a lot of like, maybe you can see it, there's a lot of like dried coffee that's coming from in there because it gets stuck up in there and you want to clean that out. And then you could do it wet, you could do it dry. I did it dry. And then now we should be ready to make espresso. So you have to be careful on how much you're putting in there. Too much shaky. Anton says, I once ordered burrs from them and I didn't have to pay any fees. It's also where they sell SSP burrs cheaper than SSP. They are real though. Ooh. Probably because they buy them, I guess, enough quantity. Interesting. Harpan says, I ordered from Shenzhen to California for my parents, and there were no tariffs applied. The return address was Indiana. Oh, interesting. Should add some water and toothpaste. Oh, I got it. Now I got it. Coffee Cup says I had to pay additional $400 for the Met on shipping and include the tariffs and taxes, of course. Yeah, there's a lot of tariffs going on here. Anyway, so let's have a look. We're gonna make an espresso now, and we hopefully have this clean. We're gonna see if we get better performance than we have recently. Just gonna put the camera back in its crib, which doesn't want to do. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see if this will work. So we're gonna get our coffee on. Can you even see what I'm doing here? Turn that off. Is that enough light? We'll try this as an angle today. Okay, so we got our grinder. Let us do some grinding. We're going to clear out the excess grind. Now let's try a little bit of testing. Last time, I've been telling you all this time that I like 21 grams, but the last time we did this on Friday, we ended up with 26 grams. So let's be a little bit closer, because 26 grams really is difficult to put in, because how much coffee you're putting in will affect the ease of insertion. So we're going to put everything back together, and we're going to tear out our scale. All right, so we got our scale there. And so you can see here we scaled it out. And now let's go back and put some coffee in here. Okay, good. So we've got a little bit of mounding slightly down there. So it's going to come around again and push it in. And I think that'll be good. Maybe that's a little bit more than, oh gosh. Let's try again. Actually, what we're doing this time, we're going to, a little bit there. So I'm going to push that in just so that it's not on the edge and it's going to fall out. So I'm going to say that's close to what we want. Let's go over here to the scale. Oh, see, 26. Look at that. That's just too much. So let us get rid of that. Come back. 24. Wow. Got rid of a little bit more there. 22. How low that is. It's all like. Okay, so there's 22 grams. There's a little bit on the wing here, a little bit on the wing here, a little bit there. And we're pretty much level. So I don't necessarily want to take any more out. Let's have a look. Oh, yeah, we can take more out. All right, let's go back. Oops. 22, good Lord. That's got to be 21. Okay, close enough. 21.8. We're not going to worry about this 0.8 nonsense. Like I said the other day, I was like, I don't really recommend worrying too much about. If you're just learning, don't worry about that kind of like 0.8 stuff. All right, so now we've got it. It's relatively flat. So I just feel like I need to make sure that it's nicely distributed over all. And then let's compress. Oh, yeah, look at that. It's totally like more level with the edge of the basket. We should be doing this more, maybe. Okay, good. A little bit of pressure. Well, that's not even. Okay, there it is. You got a little bit of sputtering. Okay, just let that go through. Now we've got that. This should be a lot easier for insertion. Oh yeah, much easier to insert. Will we get some leaking? I don't know. So you go there, yeah, you can see the leaking happening. Look how fast that is. That is super fast. So that was way fast. And super bonding. Right, so look at that. Nobody's asking, have you tried a self-leveling tamper? I have tried self-leveling tampers. It's been a long time. They used to be really popular when I was starting out. After a couple of years I've been in the business, but I haven't used them in a long time. They're cool. I mean, they're cool. But again, I really do think after all this time that, and I've got I've got boxes of tampers, right? But I think you're better served if you don't do those things. Hey, I think over the long term, it'd be better served if you can practice enough to get your skills where you don't need those tools. I think it's better. That's my personal preference. Oh yeah, not nice. And part of the reason, very fast, very quick shot, right? You could see that it was really flowing out. So now we want to, like, we're gonna hold our standard here. Let's have a look at our puck, right? So now, notice we normally have more drier. This has a little bit more, like, see how the coffee is here on the edges? We don't normally have that. Compaction's pretty good. Good, ratio there, like it's nice dry. So let's see. I guess we stopped it already because there's no oil. But to me, the coffee is quite thin. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a little bit of change, right? We're going to make some changes. We're going to go over here. I'll show you over here. So I'm going to make sure this change. We're going to go here, and we're going to go a little bit finer. I'm going to go finer, so I'm going to rotate it this way. I'm going to rotate. I feel like that was pretty fast. So I feel like I'm going to rotate a lot more than I did when I was trying to coarsen up the other day. I just kind of went a little bit like a notch on this. So there's little notches on this grinder, right? You can see this notch here. Like, I think I went one notch going coarser the other day when we were adjusting. Now I think I'm going to go a little bit more, but I don't know how many more. Like, I don't think of the number. I just kind of go by feel, meaning that I'm just going to go, I'm going to just move it. So part of it, you have to turn, because the burrs are like this. If you're coarsening, you're separating the burrs. So you don't have to worry so much about running it. But since, there's always coffee grounds in between the burrs, closing them closer together means that you have to crush whatever's in there. So it's much easier to turn the grinder on so that the bottom burr is rotating, and then you can close that gap because it'll grind it all the way. And that's what we're going to do. So I probably went about 2 ticks on this thing. I'm going to grind through that. And then now we're going to clean out the grinding hopper to make sure that we try to get all of this older, what is relatively coarser grain coffee out of the machine. And so that now we're going to grind regular coffee. Is that out of focus? So there is our coffee. We know that we need a little bit less than we have been. So I'm just going to work my way around it. Right, so there, we've got a little bit of a mound there. We're going to get rid of that mound. And this is what I would normally do in a commercial setting, is just push it all the way off. Now I flattened it this time based on how much coffee we had the last time. So let's look over here. Oh, really? 20? Oh, no wonder it's touching. 22.8. Gosh, really? Still have some more. Oops. Get rid of that. 22.2. Wow, 22.2. All right, 20. Really? Kidding me? Kidding me? I've actually made it concave. Get rid of those two. Okay. All right, 21.7. So that's pretty much the same position we were at last time. And now we can go over here. Okay, now you can see here, there it is. And let's pull another shot. A lot easier to insert and lock in. I like to hold the cup over. I usually like to hold the cup until it starts to flow so that I can place it down. No, that's a little bit, well, no, that's not good. That's not good. That's terrible. That looks stuffed. That does not look good. A lot of volume. You know, not bad. I mean, it's not terrible looking. Like the crema, there's crema. I wish it was darker. You can see the blonding that's right there. I'm not expecting, like this didn't have enough body. Like I want more body. More. Thin, runny. I want like elixir, right? Elixir. I don't want like coffee water. I want elixir. This is not there yet. But one of the things that you have to worry about when you're chasing the grind setting, like right now we're actually chasing the setting. The temptation is like, okay, we changed our grind setting, pulled a shot, but really the reality is that there could be more coffee that was of the coarser size that's in this shot than we might want. Meaning that like we may not necessarily have a true representation of the new grind setting with that shot. So we really need to pull at least one more shot to see if we're okay. So let's do one more and see where we are with this. Okay, let's go back. We're going to move this camera back here. Oh, no, we're going to leave it there. We can leave it there. Sorry for all the movement. Puck, a little bit of compression going on, but still that kind of messiness. It's not necessarily good, it's not necessarily bad nor good, just impressions for you to look at to help build, your understanding of espresso and how your machines are performing. So again, whenever I rinse out the group head, I like to let it sit for a moment in the lugs so that it will drip out, even though I've got a lot of mess already going on here. Clean the portafilter, which is nice and clean. Back to the grinder. We're not going to change the grind setting. I'm tempted to change it, but if I was to change it, then it would be chasing the setting. So what I'm saying is if I changed it, then I might go, I may end up going, what would be too fine? And so we want to do at least 2 shots to make sure that we are in the right position. So you can see there's some mounding here. So we're just going to swing that around. a little bit harder with that. So get rid of all the wings in the back. And let's go see what the scale says. We are close, but we are not close enough. That was too much to remove. 22 point. That was not too much to remove. What in the world is going on with this thing? That should do it. That should give us 21 something. 21.8. Okay, that works. 21.8 will work. Let's go back here. Now, here's something to be aware of, right? You're going to see that I have a lot of mess happening here. Look at this. Grinds here. Drips, drips, drips. This is the kind of thing that just drives me bonkers, right? And here's the problem. See that ring? Look at that ring right there. There's a ring of drippiness. And what is that telling you? That means that your portafilter is wet. You see that drip right there? That portafilter dripping? That means that you're going to have some problems. If you put that onto your puck, you're going to have some issues with, swelling of the coffee in one part, but not in the other parts, which could lead to uneven extraction and other problems with your shot. So do be aware of that. And let's go back here. So the best way to approach that, everything's falling today, goodness. The best way to approach that, is to, try to keep your workspace clean and dry. It is a challenge. There we go, nice. And try to catch that before you start to make your shot. So now we've got our 21.8 grams. Give that a nice twist for polishing. Flush again. Gosh, the drip tray looks terrible. Everything's a mess here. Oh, and we already flushed it. And now locking it back in. Easy to lock in now since we're not overfilling it. Hit the button. See, still too much. Okay, so now we know. It looks terrible again. Again, but the theory of what we're doing, still goes back to what we've been talking about all the time, is about letting the coffee talk to you, right? So even though I'm unhappy with this shot, we're still using the same criteria to brew the coffee, meaning that we're pulling the shot and we are watching the flow. And when the flow flickers, like when this blonding really starts, it flickers, we stop because that shot is done. Now the shot is done. There's nothing else left to offer. You don't want to go any longer. Plus, in this particular case, as you can see, since there's a good amount of volume, you really don't have too much more space to continue. So, but again, we pulled 2 shots now with similar results. That tells me that, okay, we have made sure that we have not had too much of older, coarser coffee in. It should be the new setting. So now I would want to go finer again, and maybe now even more dramatic. Oh yeah, like not pleasant, not pleasant. We will continue with adjusting tomorrow. Powerplant says, my local cafe just uses the Taobao puck press units. They are awesome. I do like the puck press. Do I like them as a method of craft? Not necessarily, but do I like them as a method of efficiency in a coffee environment? I do like them quite a lot. Like I'm actually all for it. Because you can get nice tamping results with no training. You just insert the portafilter into the puck press. It does its thing, and you're golden. Like if you pair that with, say, like a E65 or E80 Malkonig, That's doing like dose by weight. You put the portafilter in, you take it out, you put it in the puck press, you're pretty much done. You don't necessarily have to worry too much about it at that point. Coffee Cove says, I believe it, power plant. I have not backed anything since. I just don't know about how much. I backed it. What am I missing here? Oh, the tariffs are killing the dropship, are killing Kickstart dropship model. Ah, okay. Gotcha. Oh, but the Shenzhen was ordered 400, but not expecting the tariffs. Oh, okay, that's good. Powerplant says that I got ripped off my first 3 Kickstarter backings, so I swore it off. Oh, that's too bad. I'm sorry to hear that. That's always lame. If the company itself wants to be a drop ship, I will back those, but no more kicks. Oh, I don't know enough about the models of Kickstarter to know. I understand that I backed the approximately 10 to 12 months ago and only got ripped off once. Oh, approximately 10 to 12 backings. It was the MadCap 64 millimeter. Oh, I wonder, don't they put your money into escrow with these Kickstarter things? I'm not sure how they work. So, ooh, $600. That's terrible. In the mid-10s. PowerPlant was actually a super early bid for the ZPM espresso. They were so awesome, but lost everything in a manufacturing stage. Kafka says, like what you said, I feel more comfortable backing an established company after that grinder fiasco, and then now I'm way more careful. Yeah, for sure. I hear you on that. By the way, ZPM's tech was bought out. The new company was run by a coffee enthusiast. They would use the tech to start a new company called Decent. Oh, nice. All right. Excellent. All right. Well, that's going to be it for today. We'll come back tomorrow now that we have something for tomorrow. So we'll do a little bit more adjusting to bring this new amount of coffee into more of what I would be looking for. So we'll go back into that more tomorrow. So hope you have a wonderful day out there and see you next time.